What's up guys, it is Starflord here and I'm bringing you another mage build. Now today we are actually going to be doing a winter tree, which a lot of people have been struggling about what to do with the winter tree, how is it useful and is it any good. Now with this build what I've tried to do is mainly use the winter tree to be able to take effect of what the winter tree can bring, but also take effect of Inferno and Storm to be able to be useful when you don't actually require the needs of the winter tree. So we're just going to go straight into the winter tree here, and first thing we're going to take is Winter's Grasp. Now Winter's Grasp will deal 200% weapon damage, freeze for 4 seconds, just one enemy, chill duration of 8 seconds, quite a short cooldown time of 16 seconds, but a high cost of 65 mana. And when you take the upgrade, which I have, you will have an area effect of 3 meters, which will apply the chill of 8 seconds. Now, the reason this is such a high cost, high mana cost for such low damage, if you're wondering, is because it's pretty much instantly locks a target and freezes them, which can be really good for making some combinations in getting detonators. Now, I found that the Winter Tree is used very much as CC, but not only as CC, but kind of as a buff for your team. You really want to be able to try and make it easier for your team to single out targets and completely blow up targets. Now, using things like freezes and chills are very good. The chill allows you to single out targets because they're slow, and then the freeze allows you to get great detonators and also stop specific targets from actually doing anything. So that's Winter's Grasp, and there I've gave you a generic overview of why and what the Winter Tree is about. Now I do go into Fade Step, but definitely do not take the upgrade. If you are using Fade Step, which unfortunately I'm not because I'm such a high level, I feel like my other skills are actually a lot more useful. But as a low level with not enough points, you will want to be using Fade Step, because for 2 seconds you will literally just fly away, being invisible, and also I believe you're invulnerable for this for these 2 seconds, and is a really good way to get out of combat and away from mobs that are trying to target you. It has quite a long cooldown of 12 seconds for just a little escape, but it is really useful when the time is needed. Now the reason I don't take the upgrade, and I would really suggest not taking the upgrade, is because you're trying to use this as a way to get out of combat, not actually to get in, so you're not really going to be passing through any mobs whatsoever. However, the only one time I would say you should take Froststep is if you are playing a Night Enchanter, because Night Enchanters have quite a lot of spells that are really good for killing enemies, and actually you want to be close to enemies, so taking Froststep as a Night Enchanter is good, but for this build we are not, because we are actually a Necromancer. Now the Fade Step, if you're wondering, if I'm not using it, why take it? Because it lets you go down into Frost Mastery, which, as we are going a kind of Frost Mage, this is really key. Your freeze duration and chill durations are increased by 25%, which is great. It allows more time to get detonators off, and allows more time for you to slow mobs, single mobs, and really control the mobs. And also why I'm going Necromancer is not only just because my guy is a Necromancer, but also because this is about control, and being able to fear enemies gives you just that extra bit of control. Now, the next thing we're going down into is Winter Stillness, which is an incredible spell passive that you probably want to take even if you aren't playing a Frost Mage. And generally I prefer to take it with Winter's Grasp, because Winter's Grasp gives you a quick detonator. So what it does, it basically, while you're still for at least 3 seconds, your mana regeneration rate will increase by 50% from after those 3 seconds. So at 4 seconds of standing still, you'll still have it. At 10 seconds of standing still, you'll still have it. The second you move, it will stop. But this is really good because as a CC mage, you're probably just going to be stood there all the time, and it's really useful for getting all that mana back. Now this gets us down to Icemind, which is incredible for locking up a big AoE freeze, maybe just to freeze one target, but it is a big 6-second freeze duration. So maybe if you're against something with a big mob like an archdemon or something that can't be froze, you can freeze all the little mobs, so then your team could maybe crush the little mobs, so then everyone can focus on the archdemon. And it's just a really good way of stopping big enemies, or just small enemies even, to get where they want to go, and also to control them. And it has a very low cost of 35 mana, which is lovely. And you do want to take the upgrade, because what it does, it makes the armor of the mobs that are frozen reduced by 100%, which means things like detonators will actually work a lot better. If your warrior's going into attack, they will do more damage on the attack, therefore overall your damage is better, and that's why we take the upgrade. However, it's not a necessity. If you're not a high level and you want to get down to Blizzard, go for it. Now we are going down to Ice Armor. Now what this does is when you are near a mob that is frozen or is chilled, you will gain 50% damage reduction, so that if a chilled mob attacks you, they will do 50% less damage. That's basically what Ice Armor does, which is really nice. It means you take less damage on all CC'd mobs, which is incredible. Now we are going down to Blizzard, which in a AoE fight is incredible. A single target fight, not so much, and you do really want to use it in situations where you want a big AoE chill. Now you can see it does quite a lot of damage per second, and it is a cost of 5 mana per second, so if you have a lot of mana regen, you could literally just sit there with Blizzard on constantly. However, sometimes it's not really that great. It does have quite a nice area of effect of 8 meters, however. Now I do take the upgrade because I feel that the damage bonus is incredible. Now the freeze duration says 4 seconds, and it says progressively slowing them until they are frozen. Now I don't actually know if this really works, because every time I put Blizzard down, it just doesn't really seem to ever freeze them, but I swear that the damage bonus is actually really good and really helps you. So now we're going into the next main tree, which is Necromancer, which, as you can see, I've gone all the way down to the Walking Bomb, but not the Spirit Mark. So let's just start at the top with Horror, which, as everyone knows, it puts the enemies within the 3 meters of area panicked. So they are panicking for 6 seconds. It has quite a long cooldown of 24 seconds and a mana cost of 50, which is pretty average mana cost. Now we take the upgrade, which means while they are feared or panicking, they will take 50% weapon damage per second, and also their armor is reduced by 20%, which again, this is relating to the not only the CC, but also helping your team kill the enemies. Because yes, you get things like CC from freeze and chill, but the freeze allows you to get detonators. The armor reduction allows your allies to get more damage. 20% armor reduction allows you to get more damage. All of this really helps with controlling the fight and also allowing your allies to do a maximum damage. Now we are going down to Death Synthon, because what it does is every single time an enemy dies nearby, you don't have to kill it. You will gain 20 mana and 10% health, which is great. It keeps you alive and gives you that extra little mana boost that sometimes you just need to either get a kill or get the right CC out. Obviously we go into Power of the Dead, which is the same thing, whereas killing enemies, just basically when an enemy dies, will actually give you a 20% damage bonus for 10 seconds. Now the incredible thing about this is when you're fighting the undead, you will actually get this constantly on because they are dead. So against the undead you will constantly have a good 20% bonus damage. And let's go back up, and we're going to Blinding Terror, which means there is a damage bonus versus panicked. So because you have learned to leave the enemies vulnerable in the terror, enemies that are panicked take increased damage from all attacks. Again, this is another nice thing. When they are panicked, not only do they now have the 20% armor reduced, but they also take 15% more damage. And that's for everyone. Imagine your rogue doing 15% more damage on some of those crazy crits. It really does help. Now we're going down to Simulink, which is really nice. Basically, the second you die, you will be this kind of spirit, and during this time which is 10 seconds, you can cast every single spell with no mana. The cooldowns do take effect, so you can't literally just spam everything, but they don't cost anything. So something like Blizzard works incredibly with this, because you can just put a Blizzard down and let it go for 10 seconds, which is incredible. So that's what Simulink is. It's basically when you die, just chuck everything out to deal as much damage as you can and help your team even when you have just died. Now this takes us down to Walking Bomb, which is a great DPS spell, which does 200% weapon damage per second for 10 seconds, which there you go, gives 2000 weapon damage, and then explodes for 600% of the weapon damage in an area of effect of 5 meters, and the spell has a cooldown of 20 seconds and a cost of 65 mana. But in this build I have taken Energy Barrage and Flashpoint, I'll show you in a bit, which does mean if you've seen one of my other videos, you can get this costing 0 mana. Now we definitely take the upgrade, because this explosion here of 600% weapon damage not only will in the area of effect of 5 meters deal the damage to the enemies in that 5 meters, but will also apply the bomb to the next enemies. So you can sometimes use this on a mob that is on low health, all grouped up, and will spread Walking Bomb, making your damage crazy. Now we're going to go quickly into Inferno, because we do want to get Clean Burn. If you're using this build, I would highly suggest definitely getting Clean Burn quite early, because what it does is it means your spells reduce the other spells cooldown by 1. As you can see here, it says your spells burn away ambient magic that would otherwise slow down your casting. Every spell you cast shortens your active cooldown times, and that's by 1 second, which is great. Every time you cast a spell, every other spell is reduced by 1 second. And together we take Immolate, and I also take the upgrade. Now Immolate is great because not only is it a detonator, which can be used for incredible things, but it has quite a high base damage of 400% weapon damage, a burning of 150% weapon damage per second for 8 seconds, in an area of effect of 3 meters, with pretty much an instant cast, cooldown time of 16 seconds, and a very low mana cost of 35. This is why I feel this spell is pretty much always used in most builds, just because it's such a good spell with such a low mana cost. And then the upgrade Wildfire means it deals 100% more weapon damage and burns them for longer, and also goes down to a 12-second cooldown. And Immolate is just a great spell overall. We also go down to Flashpoint, obviously, because whenever you land a crit, your next spell does not trigger a cooldown. So this works incredibly well with a lot of things. And if you see my other video, this is how you get a free Walking Bomb, because you can cast Energy Barrage twice, and it is crazy damage. Being able to cast something like Energy Barrage one after the other gets out some ridiculous damage, and that's why we take it. And I feel Inferno, this kind of little path here, is a really, really, really good path to take. Now we're going into the Storm Tree. Now I have gone down all the way to Static Cage with its upgrade, and I will first explain this to explain why I've gone into the Storm Tree. Now what you do is you trap the enemies inside a electric field. So there's you put it down, it's an area of 9 meters, and it lasts for 8 seconds. And the second an enemy wants to leave that, they will be paralyzed for 2 seconds. This does have a massive long cooldown of 32 seconds, but obviously reduced by 1 second for each spell cast, with very, very high mana cost of 65. But when you upgrade it, whenever an enemy in the cage takes damage, a lightning bolt strikes them for 50% weapon damage. Now the reason this works so well is with the Energy Barrage, and pretty much Energy Barrage only, because Energy Barrage fires 12 projectiles, each dealing 78% weapon damage. Now each projectile will actually trigger this passive, giving you 12 times the 50, which is just crazy damage. You can use it also with Chain Lightning, because the 6 hits that it does with the upgrade gives the obviously 6 hits of the passive, but Energy Barrage gives you 12 of them. Now it has quite a short cooldown actually, relatively, for 16 seconds with the Clean Burn, and a quite high mana cost of 50, with a good being a detonator, which always helps, and with with having Flashpoint, you can get 24 of these flying. Imagine if you were able to queue that with Static Cage. That would be incredible. You could get 24 flying in their face, and seriously, it does some crazy damage. So that is the whole build explained. Now, what I just want to say is there are two paths you can build this in. You can either first build it as you wanting to be a CC mage and also kind of a helping mage to your allies, or start off on a damage route and then go for the CC later on. So what you can start off is first by going into maybe the Storm Tree and Inferno Tree, and then going into the Winter Tree and Necromancer Tree, or do it the other way around where you max out in the Winter Tree and Necromancer Tree and then later on take the Inferno and Storm. Now, a lot of people don't really like Winter because things like Inferno have some crazy low mana cost, high spells, and good AoEs, and all things like this. But really, the thing that Winter does, which a lot of people probably don't take enough respect for, is give the ability for your party to just unleash crazy damage if you time it correctly. It can be really hard in some fights to time it, and also against things like dragons that don't actually get frozen. But against a lot of fights and a lot of mobs, it will be incredibly useful, and especially being able to chill everyone and deal quite a lot of AoE damage is great. Now, I'm going to show you two fights. The first one will be a single target fight with a few little adds, and then the second one will be a fight with a couple of mobs. Now, the reason I want to show you this is because this is the end build at level 23. That's why I told you can go one of two ways. The single target fight will be if you've kind of gone the Storm Inferno tree, and then the other fight will be more as so if you've gone in for the Winter tree. Now, the first one does definitely utilize the Storm and Inferno, and this is why I've taken it, because sometimes the Winter Tree just isn't effective against these single targets like Archdemons and stuff, and that's why I've gone into the Inferno and Storm briefly, because I wanted to be able to make a mage that can bring everything a Winter mage can bring, but also be able to deal some damage when the Winter skills aren't actually necessary. So let's go into some combat here. Now, we are going to go in against some weird little baited ugly thing. It is very, very ugly, and it's got its little adds, and we are going to get some guys to attack him. Now, I always find tactics do help, making people defend and then making people attack, and also getting your tanks in straight away. But let's get this underway. Let's go. Now, as it's a single target fight, I'm just going to wait until the tank has aggro, as you can see he does, then probably try and use my Static Cage and the Energy Barrage combo for the crazy damage that it can bring. So we'll place down Static Cage here, try and get the mana quickly, and unleash some Energy Barrage, and you'll see the crazy amount of damage that's unleashed. And then you can see a few mobs coming here, so actually instead of placing down some Immolate, we're going to put down a Icemind around the tank, just in case they're trying to get to him. Using Immolate as a quick burst damage, and also putting some burning, is a great spell, and then I'm actually just going to wait for Walking Bomb to be able to do quite a lot of damage. And I'll get some Energy Barrage out in a bit, just to wreck the last bit of his armor. Now we're just going to poke him down with spells, and then when Immolate's back up, use the Immolate to get off some more heavy damage. And you can see some mobs coming into me, so I'm just going to put Icemind on me for when they come. You can see they get shielded slightly, but I believe now they're immune. So instead, I'm going to panic them, put them into panic, and then blow them up. Now, thankfully I do have barrier from the other mage, and now the Iron Ball is trying to take effect and really stop this guy from trying to kill me. Now there are a few mobs facing me, so I thought I'd bring them over down here and use a Blizzard to try and get some big AoE damage out. As you can see, the problem with Blizzard is it really does shred your mana against, especially against a single target. And as soon as this target is nearly dead, I'm going to apply the Walking Bomb, which explodes and applies Walking Bomb to all of the enemies in the area of effect. And if you can try and kill that quickly enough, there you go. It did explode, and it has now applied to the second target. So what we're going to use now is a Static Cage with a Horror combo. So it's in there, and slowly, every time that horror is ticking, which is every second, Static Cage will also tick. Now that's a great AoE combo there, the Static Cage and Horror, to get some big damage out. And you can see the two mobs are relatively close together, so I'm going to try and immolate both of them, which I do actually get off, and then get another immolate because I used the Flashpoint with it, just to get out some quick burst damage on the both of them, and use Energy Barrage to try and finish it off. And there's the fight. You can see I did do quite a lot of single target damage, got a little bit of AoE when needed, but overall it was really effective, and against a high level mob as well. I do like to try and make sure that my fights are actually against decent mobs, so you can see a decent fight. Now I'm going to quickly go over and go to a AoE fight. Right, so we've found an AoE fight here, and what we're going to do is try and send in the tank. And what we're actually going to do is use his Warcry, which will taunt everything around him. Now we will make Iron Ball again defend the Mage. Now I find this is the greatest thing to do. Get a second warrior defending your own character. Because as you could see in the last fight, I was getting attacked. But then after a while, I did just... just got saved by the Iron Ball, stopping them from attacking. So we're just going to let this go on for a bit. So stop pausing it. Get them going in. I'm actually going to take control of the warrior here to quickly charge in and Warcry actually everything, so that everything is grouped up, and then I can get a good Blizzard for the good CC. And also what's great about Blizzard is, especially against a spy, you can see here they have a spy, that it will chill them and also get them out of stealth when needed. And I'll also get Horror. Now this is just big AoE CC. My Blizzard is going to run out soon, but the Blizzard has done what it's done. Done what I needed it to do, sorry, which is keep the spy out of stealth and chill all the mobs that needed to be chilled. Now we are pretty much just focusing on the spy, however the warrior is kind of low. So what I'm going to do is turn the attention to the warrior and apply a Walking Bomb so that it will explode, and then apply it to the second spy. Then that will get the the damage on the spy ticking, which means then that can't go back into stealth, and there you go, it blows up. So that's quite a good thing. Shows off quite a good things in some AoE. As you could see, I pretty much kept them all in one area. The Warcry from the tank first got all of the aggro, and then the Blizzard kept them all in the close area, so that even when they stopped getting aggro on the tank, they were still basically trapped in the area. And also getting the Horror out gave them that little panic that kind of kept them in the area again. So using a Blizzard and Horror combo is really nice to be able to get things like that, being able to get great CC. And also, as I showed you, the Blizzard was to keep that spy out of stealth, which is really key. When you have a spy, which is especially an elite, it can literally pop out and just destroy mages. As you can see, when I didn't have my Blizzard, it did pop out and nearly kill Vivian. Basically because rogues can just turn out and one-shot anyone. So, and as you can see, also the reason I wanted to apply a Walking Bomb to the other one was to get the explosion bonus on the spy, and also apply the dot to the spy, meanwhile killing the other one. And getting the dot on the spy meant that it would be kept out of combat. So I hope this guide has really shown in depth what this build is about and how it can be used, and especially how the Winter Tree is actually quite effective, especially Blizzard in situations like just shown in this little AoE fight. I really hope you guys might actually take away now and think that the Winter Tree isn't actually that bad. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.